Ladies and gentlemen, we are back, officially back for episode two of Loop of Thought. You guys, I think you guys enjoyed the first one, so we're gonna just continue to
Yeah,
do this thing and make it work. Give you guys some great content. So I introduced Alex Logan last time. We are back,
yes,
and
sir.
yeah, guys, welcome.
Yep.
Yeah, we made it to episode two. We gotta be consistent with this thing.
Yeah. Really appreciated the comments and everything that you guys talked about. And really appreciate you guys also tuning in to our sometimes coherent and sometimes incoherent ramblings about random stuff. So really appreciate you guys.
Yeah, you guys are pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie. I was looking at some of the comments and they made me laugh. So
Pretty
keep them
absurd,
up.
some things.
We
Yeah,
some things I don't agree with personally, but hey,
I
it's
think I,
fun to see.
I
So
think
we
I,
love the interaction. This podcast, I'm thinking we go more on the realm of, we're not preachers. We're here to discuss obviously deep concepts. We always do philosophical science, but today I think we do more in terms of just everyday life, what we're thinking mentally to ourselves and things that can apply, concepts that can apply to anyone out there. So let's discuss the element of happiness, right? So happiness, we all want to be happy, but the issue is that you can't be happy all the time because if you were to be happy all the time, then would happiness even be a thing? Would it can we even be happy? That
No, I
what puts
did
emphasis on happiness is the fact that you have to go through a struggle.
that's a good point.
exactly. Exactly. It's the yin or the yin to the yang. If you don't have one side, then the other side doesn't exist.
Yeah, I've actually never thought about that before. That's a really good point. Like, what would a world look like with no, sadness and just everyone is happy all the time?
There would no one
Yeah,
would know that they're happy because there wouldn't be any opposite to it. It would
yeah,
just be completely normal.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yep. So when
so
we look at our struggles and we think, I really hate being in that situation. When you think about life in the long term, do you really? Because when you have those struggles, that makes those feelings of happiness so much better.
Hmm.
So, for example,
exactly.
let's say go through, we'll keep it educationally focused. Let's say final exams. You're really stressing to get the best grade you possibly can, and say your stupid general education class you had to take in undergrad, or some kind of other science class or video production class, whatever it is. Once you're done stressing through these classes, then say you have an awesome vacation plan. Then you go on that vacation, you're in a beautiful state. Let's say you're in Florida, you're in Fort Lauderdale. You're enjoying it there, and I mean I think you're really enjoying it more because of you realize, oh, and now I have a sense of relief. I can finally sit back and be like, oh, thank God, I'm done. So not just the sun, but it's
Yeah.
also the fact that you went through that hard week or two, whatever it was, you
Hmm.
know?
It makes it so much more rewarding and enjoyable. And that's kind of
Yeah.
what like dopamine and serotonin is. And that's kind of a big pillar of human happiness is those neurotrans. I mean, it's kind of all of your happiness is based on your neurotransmitters, basically. And the work part of it is kind of like the dopamine and just like getting motivated and kind of just making you happy to chase things and do things and impulse you to move and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
then that
Yeah.
vacation was basically just the serotonin getting pumped into your brain, which is just like the happy, like kind of relax, like just like I
And
did
that
that.
dopamine is very important. It's a very important concept. I can get into a lot of stuff, but we'll keep it to this for now. So say you go on one vacation to Lauderdale, like I said, but what if you just continue to go on vacations every other 2 weeks? Then you'll be going to, say, the Bahamas and the Caribbean, but the more that you go there more consistently, it doesn't hit as much because you already got a ton of dopamine the first vacation. But then you go on, every other week you keep going on these awesome cruises and on these all these awesome islands where you're drinking a pina colada, but that doesn't hit as nice as the last one because it's that dopamine rush.
Yeah. I think that goes off to the point we talked about last time. Like, money won't buy your happiness because, that first month, if you have all the money in the world, you'll be happy. But then you realize, you can't stay at that same um, point the whole time. You'll eventually be like, wow, I have no one around me that actually loves me. I'm like alone. Like, I buy all this stuff, but I'm not happy. And like, I feel like too, that's why people like don't retire as soon as they should sometimes because they do what they love to do for a living, and then
Mm.
like if they retire, they're not doing what makes them happy, and they don't have that passion anymore. So I think that's a good analogy to go off of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of times work is what gives us meaning in
Hmm.
life. Because if we just kind of sit around and don't really do anything, then the brain just, I mean, you literally just go depressed because the brain is just like, I'm not doing anything. Why would I pump, you know, everything with dopamine and serotonin to cause me to do things? It just kind of breaks away and you stop wanting to do anything. And then just kind of snowballs into negative things and then you kind of just
Yeah.
the fire inside of you dies.
You
Yeah.
know
So
what's
it's
so
always,
interesting is the concept of dopamine that goes into so many different elements of life. So for example, the vacations we already talked about, but let's say food. So you look in your pantry after a long day of work, you're like, oh shoot, there's some Oreos in the pantry. I'm gonna go take some. I'm using Oreos because I love Oreos. But you eat the first one, and it's like, oh my God, this is amazing. By the fifth one you have, you're like, okay, I get it. I don't need another one. I'm good.
Yeah.
So it goes with food, it goes with hanging out with people, honestly.
yeah,
So if you hang out with, you know, friends or family, the I guess the more consistently you do it, let's say over the course of 1 month, you hang out with family, say go and get dinner. The first time you think, oh, this is a great time. Having really great conversations with them, really enjoying the scenery and getting to talk to them. But, the seventh, eighth, ninth time that you're doing that, even if you go to a different restaurant, your body's used to that environment. So then it doesn't hit as awesome as the first one.
So,
yeah.
yeah. So my question would be, what advice would you give to someone that's maybe listening that is having a tough time finding that happiness every once in a while or consistently?
It's gonna sound brutally simple, but just do things. Literally
Do
do
th
things.
Find what you love to do and find a mix of work and pleasure. That's what I would say.
Exactly. Because that's
Because
how humans work.
if you love your work, then you'll still be working, you'll still stay focused, and then you'll still feel relief from work, and then you get to do things that are actually fun, like say you want to watch a movie. But the problem is two things. One, if you watch movies all day, binge watch movies, eating Cheetos on the couch, obviously you're not going to feel any kind of fulfillment. Then odds are you may be a little bit more depressed. So that's one part of it. The other part is as far as work goes, let's say you hate sitting at a desk all day. Well, if you become a computer scientist, then you're not going to like your 40-hour work week. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
So, um, obviously you can't be super happy 24/7 because of the hormones that we talked about. You need to have a good balance of the hormones of dopamine and serotonin. But
Hmm.
yeah, find a good mix of what you like to do, something you can handle and have a good production mindset on for work, and then have a couple hours at night to just de-stress. I think if you have that every day, then your happiness should definitely go up, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about finding a balance with things in life. And if you have something that is too strong, in your life, then might take over and you neglect other things.
Mm,
Yeah, it's very important to just kind of not necessarily let in too many things into your brain, like, bad news and stuff like that, and just kind of have time just to think, just kind of meditate and think about things in your life and, recollect past events to try and find patterns that, you know, reasons why you might be feeling this sort of way and just kind of trying to go through it in your mind and seeing, you know, how you really operate as a person, and then just going forward with that knowledge and information, just always trying to iterate, and improve yourself as time goes on.
mm,
Yeah. So, since you were just talking, Logan, I'm gonna make a loop of thought to the first episode. Logan talked about the two things that humans need to do, survive and reproduce, right? So to survive, so we have that survival instinct. And so because of that, I think our brains are wired to nowadays overthink things because, back in the day, we were hunters and gatherers. Our main focus was literally getting food to survive. But now we kind of take it for granted. So now our brain looks for something else to fight against. So I think a lot of people deal with this, and I don't think it's talked a lot about, but it's just overthinking on a daily basis. So just
Yeah.
getting out, just being able to get out of your head and really do what you want to get done.
mhm.
Yeah, exactly. Just-
And I feel like that ties into like people now they don't have to like worry about, surviving and food and all that. And now we got social media and people are just looking at what other people are doing and they want to be like
Exactly.
them and they
Hmm.
think they're not perfect. But it's like, hundreds of years ago, people just care about themselves. And I feel like people were so much happier when they were just caring about themselves when not just viewing what other people are doing online all the time.
That's a really good link. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Insecurity has been brought up because of social media and this constant
especially the
exposure that
younger
we have.
generations. The
Hmm.
younger generations are going through like their entire lives is going to like in the past and going forward is just going to be completely filled by technology. And they're growing up when their brains are just the most plastic and malleable, and they're all just like seeing the world through social media and seeing all the crazy stuff that people are doing and pornography and stuff like that. And yeah, it's like our generation had it pretty good. Like the people in like I don't know, like the 17, 18 to 25 age group, probably a little bit older than that, but just the age group that still ran around in fields and stuff. I mean, the generation that's coming up is still doing that, but they have iPads when they're running
Yeah, we're now in
that they end up
a world
breaking.
of technology. So back then, people were always getting sunlight. People were always going through nature. People don't realize how important that really is.
Hmm.
And
Exactly. That's where we evolved.
it's hard to convince people to get out of that mindset of I'm going to wake up and just immediately check my phone, then go on my computer, do work, and then before you know it, the day is gone. And then you go, okay, I didn't
Yeah.
really experience the world today. And people
Yeah.
might think that's a dumb thought, but no, it you really need that sunlight. It's good for your skin. It's good for mental health. It clears the mind.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's like a mindfulness in a way.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
meditation
Vitamin D is
is
very important.
vitamin D is important, and just meditation is so critically important. I don't think anyone talks about that either. But seriously, it reshapes how you live every day. I think it's so important.
Exactly. All of your actions add up to who you are as a person. Like every single action. How you do anything is how you do everything.
Wow, what a quote. We need to put that on a
Yeah,
shirt.
I don't know who made that quote. That was not me.
Oh,
I
that
just
wasn't
don't.
you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
those people watching, do not give him credit for that. He doesn't deserve it.
Yeah, that was not my quote.
Logan, what was the quote that I came up with that one time that we thought was like the best quote ever?
God damn it. We should have wrote. Didn't
I
we
wrote
say
it
we were gonna write it down?
I wrote it down somewhere. I just don't know where.
I remember it was just very, very simple and it was just profound when I heard it.
It's not nothing changes if nothing changes, right, Alex?
No, it wasn't like that.
Those of you watching, that was our baseball quote that we had put on shirts. But anyway,
That's also something that's kind of interesting is just how sports in, school and especially high school, how it like impacts young minds basically and young minds disciplines,
yeah. So
stuff
any
like
career that
that.
you go into requires collaboration, teamwork, being able to deal with other people. Some you like, some you don't like. Sports does that, and it builds a healthy competitive atmosphere
Mm,
for yourself, right?
Exactly.
yeah.
So people that you can get that through clubs too. So sports or clubs, either one. But there's a lot of kids that may not get into either one, maybe because they're dealing with maybe big social anxiety. They don't want to meet other people in high school or middle school, whatever it is. Um, so some people aren't getting these outsources. So by the time they get to employment, then they don't have those skills unless they're getting it through another source elsewhere.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. I feel like only formal education doesn't really provide that much discipline and organized structure in the youth. And you kind of have to, give them a little kick in the ass a little bit and just like make them play sports to just get some discipline. And especially, on the physical side, because
Mm,
obesity is a big issue, especially in this
yeah.
country. And I feel like
Yeah.
So,
we
well,
should,
there's a lot of combinations you can do. So if you want, you can actually build a lot of really good mental strength through playing things like chess. So if you join
oh
chess
yeah.
club, but at the same time, say you join a lifting club, or you just lift on your own. I mean, if as long as you're getting both of those environments, then you should be fine.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like more people should be playing chess, but that's kind of funny for me to say because I don't play chess at all.
It's so good for your brain. It develops your prefrontal cortex so much. It's
You
it's really
played a
good.
lot?
There's times when if I have free time, I'll watch some chess YouTubers that teach me different openings and how to play beyond beginner level. But don't get me wrong, I'm still at beginner level. Okay. I am not a chess wizard to say at all. But no, I try to play when I can. It's fun. I do like the idea of trying to do something for yourself when someone else makes a move. The problem solving. So if they do this, what should I do?
Mm,
Exactly.
so,
Just forward thinking.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's essentially game theory. I really like game theory. I think it's interesting. But
Can you explain it to me and the audience? Because I took a class,
on
game
game
theory
theory,
in college. Yeah. And sometimes the professor didn't really explain things that well.
well, I'm not a game theory professor, and that's I mean, I can get into a little bit. It depends on what part of it you're talking. So I took microeconomics, and game theory was one of those sub-disciplines that we covered in that course. So with that, there were a lot of decision trees, and so there would be I might be getting this a little bit wrong, but say there's player one and player two.
Hmm.
You can write down and look through this diagram and think, okay, player one does this. What is player two's possible output? Meaning, how much value do they get from a decision given that player one has done something? So, for example, it's something like this. So, player one, they have two different paths they can take, but then that affects the possibility of what player two can get. So it's something like
Yeah.
that where you weigh your outputs and how much value you can get given what someone else does. So it's kind of like
Yeah,
chess.
exactly. Exactly. Like, what is the ability basically that if you make this move, they will make that move? And seeing like it basically reveals what they're thinking, like, and you kind of make a
Which is
decision
kind
based.
of cool. Which is kind of cool because and it's also a healthy thing to do is to think through what is the most rational thing that someone would do at these given points. I mean, that's a skill that's valuable in life.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's kind of difficult because in classrooms they don't really. exactly. It's very black and white in classrooms, but in reality, people don't act rational at all. I mean, you can kind of like make models that kind of can one-to-one replicate what we would do, but based on, what human motivation is, which if you boil it down, is just survival and reproduction. But, a lot of times it's gonna be kind of dumb sometimes, unfortunately. It happens. There's the yin to the yang. But yeah, it's people can act very irrational sometimes, and it's very hard to model those kinds of things, which is very interesting to me how like I don't know, AI will be used and is being used by the governments of the world right now to make decisions and how that like especially in the future, like how decisions will be made are just completely based on AI math game theory.
Here's here's something I have for you guys I just thought of. So what exactly would rationally, so the word rational that can come down to what your brain thinks is what you can define rational is maybe what your brain thinks is the correct thing to do at a given point in time. Let's say that's the definition.
Hmm.
So the problem with that is people can get in different mental states. So when they're stressed out, they might make a different decision than if they're not stressed
Hmm.
out. Or if you're on some kind of psychiatric drugs, those will influence you to do something. Or if you've been drinking, those will influence your brain to do different things that you wouldn't do if you're sober.
Yeah. Or if you're
So are you
happy.
still making, or if you're happy? So if you're,
Yeah.
are you making a rational decision when you're drunk and if you're sober? But what if those two decisions are different? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would
It's
I would
it's very
generally
interesting.
think that people would make irrational decisions when they're under the influence of something like alcohol.
Yeah.
I don't think they would really, be thinking that straight. But
That would be
yeah,
assumed, but what if the alcohol lowers their stress a little bit, and then let's say they build up courage to do something that is maybe something beneficial
mm,
compared to something that they wouldn't do if they were sober because their brain, their anxiety kept telling them, no, 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 abort, like abort mission, abort mission.
yeah,
So what about
I
that?
feel like for people who might not be who are probably more neurodivergent on the scale, uh they probably do benefit from a little bit of alcohol and things like that to kind of break down those barriers that otherwise would be very hard to reach. But sometimes that can end up being a slippery slope, and they realize that they might become a little bit more social on that, and then they use that as a crutch now to be social. And then, their normal lives, they're just kind of
Yeah.
going a little crazy, and their sociability is way down and their anxiety is way up.
Hmm.
It's basically the opposite of being drunk is your everyday life, and you're basically just always thinking
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
And with alcohol, there's rebound anxiety
Yeah.
that builds up. So you feel good short term, long term. You know, say you're a person of high standards, and then you realize, oh, I drank alcohol. All these weekends I got nothing productive done. Then maybe self doubt can build up in yourself,
Hmm.
and that can lead
Yeah.
to a lot of different things. It's different for each individual, but yeah,
Yeah.
there's pros and cons to those different substances.
I think I remember reading a story about someone who was in a bar fight, and he was an incredibly normal person. And I think he got concussed so bad that he was basically blacked out for like I think he actually went into a coma. And then after the coma, he actually got smarter somehow, some way.
Hmm.
So he ended up I guess alcohol was a little bit beneficial for him, even though he made a completely irrational decision, which kind of just goes to show that you can't, it's hard to predict how things will end up going. And sometimes when you do the
Yeah.
wrong thing, somehow it ends up good. And sometimes when you think you're doing the right thing, it ends up being, you know, it ends up stabbing you in the back, basically. You can never really predict things fully.
Yeah, that's a good point. It all comes down to the neurochemistry and the physiology of your entire body. But the element of an accident happening is actually very interesting. I saw this one documentary where obviously if you over time you have these habits and they have you develop skills that are different from other people. So some people are they think more and they have a more developed prefrontal cortex than say other people that are more emotional. They play life on the more emotional side. But picture this scenario. So on this documentary, there was a person that was he was a math major. He was fully prefrontal cortex. So any emotional aspects of life, he just obviously he would react emotionally. He was emotionally sane, but he wouldn't be on a comedy floor doing like a comedy shoot. Like he didn't have that emotional capability to do something like that, for example, right? But this person got in an accident, and I think this traffic pole or something went through their entire prefrontal cortex. And the interesting thing is, it rewired their brain so that they became less prefrontally dependent and became more emotional. They developed more creativity.
Hmm.
So isn't that something?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Are you talking about Phineas Gage?
I
Have you
that
heard?
might it might be Phineas Gage. It sounds familiar.
Yeah, he basically just was a railroad worker in Pennsylvania, I believe, and he got a huge out industrial spike or something like that go through his brain. I think they were setting up like dynamite, and then I don't know, something went wrong. And he was, I think, an incredibly nice person, and just kind of normal beforehand. And somehow he survived it. If you ever look it up, just the kind of diagrams and simulations of like what it would have looked like on his skull are kind of disgusting. But he, I think he became kind of an asshole after that happened.
Uh,
Oh, maybe it was a
Yeah,
different, but that's interesting too.
yeah, which I don't know how anyone would survive if their brain was just like completely
yeah,
destroyed like that.
that's crazy.
Speaking of which, like people used to lobotomize people and think that it was a good thing and it made them like smarter.
Oh my gosh.
Like why would you do that? I'm pretty sure one of the one in the Kennedy family, one of John F. Kennedy's sisters, I think had like a schizophrenic episode or something like that, or is depressed, and then she was lobotomized, and then like, what do you think would happen? Like she obviously didn't really have any life after that, and she was in, you know, just kind of kept in a house all day, and like it's absurd that people used to do that,
Wow.
but
Yeah,
it's
that's
crazy how
important.
far medicine has come
Yeah.
since, I mean, literally the past 100, 150 years, which who knows, maybe someday people might be able to put their consciousnesses on to the, I don't know, some AI thing and
AI
I
cloud,
or
we'll
guess
all be
transfer it to like a
living.
robot.
Yeah.
I guess the moral of the story that we're trying to tell viewers today is we're in a world of technology. Try to escape it a little bit. Try to get some outside time. Try to obviously we're not perfect at it. We all need to work on it, but you know, tell yourself in the morning, try to get 30 minutes of sunlight off the phone.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly.
Just try
It's
to,
kind of
it's
hard
all
to do
habits.
in the winter, especially around this area, but
Now
I
is
feel
not a time to
like
saying that in January.
I feel like you got to just kind of keep your body moving.
Hmm.
Keep your body moving, keep
Yeah.
exercising.
hmm
Yeah, it
Um,
doesn't have to be going outside. Like I know a lot of people struggle with they want to do something, they want to like create this piece of art, or they want to start a podcast, or they want to go to the gym, they want to start cooking their own meals, but they sit on their phone or they scroll all day, they get that dopamine hit and they end up pushing it to next day and the next day. And it's because your brain is literally blocking that because if you do those things, uncertainty comes. Um, It's the unknown. Failure comes with that. You're going to have to fail. You're going to be outside your comfort zone. And your brain always wants to keep you in the comfort zone. So it's going to push you back to scrolling on TikTok or whatever, sleeping in, not going outside, where you feel safe. So I think
That's
just,
a
Yeah.
yeah.
that's a great point as far as comfortability. That's
Hmm.
what everyone's stuck in. But the key, I guess, what's helped me sometimes is part of my brain wants to um keep that dopamine associated with, going on Instagram or whatever it is sometimes, or staying on the phone.
Hmm.
But there's a part of my brain that thinks is telling me, "Hey, Zach, get off your phone, dude. What are you doing?"
Hmm.
So I guess you have to find that part of your brain and sometimes listen to it.
Yeah.
But it comes down to getting okay with that uncertainty. I think that's the only way through it. Because if
Yeah.
you stay with certainty the rest of your life, then none of your habits are going to switch because you're going to keep doing what you did yesterday.
You're not going to accomplish any of your goals if you aren't afraid to fail and overcome them.
Unless your goal is to
Exactly.
not succeed, then
Yeah.
then I guess you accomplished your
Yeah.
goal.
You have to fail in order to succeed. It's the one of the most repeated quotes in the big book of quotes. Because I mean, everyone fails. Everyone fails.
Hmm.
The people you look up to most in your life are the reason you look up to them that much is because they failed so much, and you just don't see that side to them.
And it's because they were okay with those failures and didn't let that hold them back. That's why they're so
Exactly,
famous.
exactly.
So,
They learn from it, and it might happen again, but you just have to try your best to move on and not let it become a self-fulfilling prophecy by keep repeating the negative thought or event in your mind over and over again. Because by doing so, you won't focus on your environment anymore and you won't be in the present moment, which is, the only way to not really fail is by being focused.
yeah, Logan, I remember the quote. I pulled it up. It's do your best now to live in the now.
Do
Hey, I
your
like that.
best now to live in the now.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, if you
It's
live in the present
beautiful.
moment and you truly trust yourself, your quality of life is just better. And it's not that easy to do because your brain will always want to think, okay, did I do something wrong, or what do I need to do to prepare for tomorrow or later today? But just working on that is truly, if you can get better at that, your life will get way better.
Yeah. And then one
Yeah.
last thing before we end off. I had to bring this up, but Logan, there was a video deleted on your social media that Jacob brought up to me
Yeah.
about the what, bison epidemic or something.
Bison epidemic? No, the bison non-epidemic.
Oh, I didn't
I was
know
just
I forgot what it was, so that I was wondering about that.
there's it's just in the there's vast stretches of basically middle America, like Western Kansas, Western Nebraska, which I've heard Western Nebraska is actually really beautiful, by the way. But there's just been a pretty significant depopulation of many counties in the Great Plains of this country.
Hmm.
And I don't know, the Native American part of me just wants to see great herds of bison running around. Like, obviously not as big as they used to because that's impossible given how much
Yeah.
agriculture and ranching there is out there. But just in the open areas that, have been depopulated over the past century can maybe populate it with bison because it's cool and it's
Yeah, I mean,
American.
if we have a shortage of animals, or if the environment is taking a turn for the worse, like what we've seen in California with the forest fires, we want to find a way to fix that. We don't want to just let the earth just sit here and die, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's an important thing to talk about too. But maybe
Start
we'll
the
get into that in a
hashtag.
later podcast.
Hashtag save the bison.
Save the bison. Yeah.
Put in the chat. Everyone put in the chat. Say hashtag
Put in the
save the
chat.
bison.
I think a lot of bison have some interbreeding with cattle, and they're not even really true bison,
Hmm.
which honestly, fuck it. Like with the Colossal company, I'm pretty sure that's their name, who are basically developing the genetic technology to revive species that went extinct fairly recently. And so like why not have bison
Why not?
in the tundra? Why
Yeah.
not
Why
have
not?
like there used to be lions and cheetahs in America roaming around. I mean, that might be a little I think they went extinct like 100,000 years ago or something like that. That might be a little too far back, but why not have like giant armadillos and giant sloths running around?
You know what? I think they should totally imagine how sick it would be if the woolly mammoths were just back, you know? Like I think that was just peak human existence where people could like ride woolly mammoths and like kill,
I
kill
think that would be peak human existence right there.
like
Full
we'd see
circle right there.
dinosaurs. Yeah.
The animal that we kind of associate with cavemen and just, people would go out and hunt mammoths in like creative ways by like funneling them into like tight passageways and then throwing big boulders on them. And then we extincted them. I mean, it was partly the Ice Age ending, but mostly humans because they went extinct everywhere when humans arrived. That was actually all megafauna, honestly, because humans are the apex predators and they would obviously kill all the megafauna, which would then kill off all the megafaunal predators. But you know what? Having mammoths that you can like ride on would be awesome. And that would be full circle because humans ended up creating the thing that we destroyed.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, it's been a while. So I think it's going to have to come to a close. But yeah, Alex Logan, thank you again for another great episode.
Yeah, of
That
Thank
course.
has
you
been,
guys.
yes, that has
And
been
thank
Loop
you,
of Thought.
audience, for tuning in.
Yes, thank you guys as always. But yeah, episode 2 is a wrap. And yeah, we will see you guys for episode 3, hopefully soon.
Yeah,
So stay tuned.
follow us on all social medias, Loop of Thought, Instagram,
Yeah.
YouTube, TikTok. Check out some of our clips on there. Leave a comment, subscribe.
My socials will apply here. Here, Alex, put it in right there. Boom. Edit master himself. All right, guys. All right. Peace.
Peace.
See you.